In this video, I'm going to go through one example on how to create an algorithm, and also at the same time I'm going to do a tracing of the algorithm to see how it works. The problem is we have to create an algorithm called stringTimes, which takes two parameters, str and n. Str is a string, collection of characters, and n is a positive integer. What the algorithm has to return is a new string which has n copies of the original string. For example, if I say string times hi is my string and 2, this means that I have to repeat hi, the input, 2 times and return it. So hi. If I say hi and 3, it has to return hi 3 times. If I say hi 1, then it has to return hi 1 time, or the same string. So let's start to design the algorithm. As usual, the first line of the algorithm, we always start with the keyword start. The second line, because I want to repeat the same thing over and over again, because I have to make a copy of the original string n number of times, I have to keep it somewhere. And that somewhere, I'm going to introduce a variable, something like s, which is blank initially. There is nothing in it. Now, also, since I have to repeat this one, I have to go through a loop. And as I said before, every loop has an index which keeps track of the number of times it has gone through the loop. So I'm going to introduce a new variable called index with initial value of 1. Now I'm going to start writing the code for the loop. So I'm going to say if index is less than or equal to n, the number of times that we want to repeat, I'm going to say then, and I'm going to try to finish if with an end if statement, as I stated in the class. Now within the loop, I'm going to append one copy of the original string to str. So I'm going to say s is equal to s plus str. Remember that this addition, when you're dealing with strings, is going to concatenate two strings together. So this is going to add str, which is the original string, to the string s, which is initially blank. Within the loop, I'm going to increment the index so I can keep track of the number of times the loop has been executed. And before I get to end if, I'm going to say go back to the beginning of the loop. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to say go to 4. So what happened here is that initially the index is 1. Then I'm going to check if index is less than or equal to these numbers, either 2 or 3 or 1. Then I'm going to go inside the loop and I'm going to append a new copy of the original string to s, and then I'm going to increment index and go back to the beginning. While the index is less than or equal to n, I'm going to continue this operation. When index gets greater than n, then I'm going to jump out of the if and I'm going to just return s. And that's the end of the algorithm, which I'm going to use with end here. So this is a complete algorithm which I'm going to use for this problem. Now the question is that how can I check this one to see if it works? Now let's go ahead and trace the algorithm to see if it works. When I call this algorithm, let's say with this example here, str becomes hi, the string hi. So I can write str is equal to string high. Then n becomes number 2 because n corresponds to 2. So here I can say n is equal to 2. Then I go inside the algorithm. Then s becomes blank because the code says initially s is equal to blank. Index is equal to 1, so I'm going to say index is equal to 1. Now it says is index, which is equal to 1, less than or equal to n, which is 2? The answer is yes. So we go inside and it says that s is equal to s plus str. So s is equal to, initially s is blank and str is equal to high, so s becomes high because blank plus high gives you high. Then I go to the next one and it says add 1 to previous index. Index initially was 1, so index becomes 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Now it says go to 4, so it goes back to this line. Now it says is 2 less than or equal to n? N is 2. 2 is less than or equal to 2 is correct. So it's going to say s is going to be the previous s, which is high, plus str. str is equal to high. So this means that s is high, high. Then it goes here and it says index is index plus 1. So index becomes index plus 1. So 2 plus 1 becomes 3. Then it says go to 4. So it goes back to 4. Now it asks is index, which is 3, is less than or equal to n, which is 2? The answer is no. So it comes out of the loop or out of the if, and then it says return s, which is going to return high, high. And this is exactly what we wanted to do.